The feds just raided Yo Gotti and Moneybaggyo in Memphis. They looking for all the things that are pertaining to the Young Dolph case because they just found out a big shocking detail that's gonna have everybody in CMG rounded up. All 16 CMG members are getting busted for the Young Dolph setup right now. Young Dolph was officially set up at the cookie shop and at the turkey drive. They actually talked to all the sources in Memphis and they got the reports, they got the details, and it ends up being exactly what 007 said. It was two dudes that came out the side of the cookie shop and hopped in the Bentley truck and hopped in Raven's truck, man. When they actually put the things together, they put two and two together and they found out that the dudes from CMG actually was trying to take out Dolph for a long time because of the Yo Gotti and the Young Dolph beef. So it was a paid hit, man. Somebody paid to have $100K on Dolph's head. That was the rumor that was going around. When they talked to Mia J, remember she said that somebody put $100,000 on her fiance's head. Young Dolph was about to get married to Mia J. She was very distraught when she found this information out, and so that's why she put $500K on the head of whoever did it to him, and that's why everything has been a frenzy. Memphis has been on fire. It's been a war zone this whole last 2 years because it's like a lot of people, they need the money, and this is why they do the things that they do, man. The jealousy, the envy, the greed, the money is the root of all evil. And when Yo Gotti and them, when they got jealous of Young Dolph because he had more money than them, this is the lengths that they wanted to go to try to send a message to him, because he couldn't, like, they couldn't eat off Young Dolph's plate because Young Dolph wasn't just gonna let that slide like that. He didn't need to sign to him or anything like that. He had his own stuff, he had his own artists, he had everything going on for him, and he was gonna be the #1 person in Memphis, and he ended up doing it too. And so this is why they actually were basically trying to set him up for many years, and the feds found the connection through Govan Hernandez, because Govan Hernandez, if y'all really know anything about Govan Hernandez, you should know that back in 2018 when they tried to do Young Dolph in LA, Govan Hernandez was seen running from the crime scene and everything in a gray sweatsuit, the same type of gray sweatsuit that the dudes had that pulled up in front of the cookie shops, whoever that was that popped out of that two-door, because they found out that it wasn't even Straight Drop or Cornelius Smith. The dudes was too chunky and too husky sized to be that. It was actually Big Jook and Govan. And so this is why they pinned that on Govan, and they took Govan in. Remember when MPD and the whole press conference happened and they said Govan Hernandez was the mastermind of the Young Dolph hit, and so this is what they took him in for. But then 2 weeks later they released him on an ankle monitor, and because he gave up incriminated information that was going to take out Yo Gotti, moneybaggyo, blacyoungsta, like Straight Drop, Cornelius Smith, the whole 9 yards, man. Shondell Barnett, Devin Burns, everybody that was actually in this, Makita's Raven, 901 Trigger Trey, like the whole rap sheet was actually made by Govan Hernandez. He actually gave them the feds witness list saying that he was going to be an informant for them. And so now that Govan flipped to the feds and became a federal informant, they released him on an ankle monitor and gave him a bond of $90,000. That is unheard of. It's impossible. Nobody has ever actually been able to hit up somebody, be called the mastermind, go to jail, then snitch on every single person, and then be released on a $90,000 bond and an ankle monitor, and you're the mastermind of the hit. That never happens. That means that he must have had direct knowledge and information. He must have showed them the Dolph footage showing how Yo Gotti and them was driving by in the Bentley and who paid the money and everything like that. When they went back and looked at it, they found the wire transfers that equaled up to the exact amount of dollars on the phone call that Yo Gotti said he was going to send to Big Jook to go and quote unquote take care of him. So when they asked Big Jook who was they paying all this money for to take care of, then that's when he slipped up and said that it was a op that they was trying to get rid of or whatever because he was in the way of Yo Gotti's business. And so what ended up happening is they gave Govan and Big Jook a proffer agreement. They told them that for a day that they could tell every single thing about the Young Dolph like whole scene and everything, and that they won't be able to get indicted for it because it was a proffer agreement in place protecting them. And so in exchange for that, they was gonna actually release them from the 2018 investigation and from the 100 Shots investigation, because the RICO was being built up and they're tying all three incidents together as one act, and they basically going after the head of the snake. Because when you look at it, it's like they never could get the higher ups. That's why they have the RICO charge for it. They trying to get the higher up people in trouble for this. And so that's why Jay-Z, he sold CMG a long time ago, because he knew if he was still the owner of CMG and Yo Gotti was like supposed to be his right hand man, Yo Gotti was gonna end up doing something that was gonna come back on him. And so that's why a lot of people split up. CMG ended up splitting up for a long time, and so they weren't around each other for a while, because they knew if they was all in one place at one time, and if the feds ended up raiding, every single one of the 16 CMG members was going to end up getting apprehended and indicted for this whole entire thing. The feds, they have a very, very high success rate, because what they do is they take all the documents, the evidence, the footage, the witness testimony, the statements, and they basically put that all together, and they wait until they have it all lined up. They do multiple interviews. They got Big Jook and all of them to basically, at one point when they first interviewed him the first week, they said that they didn't know nothing and that they wasn't around. Then they came back and brought him in a second time, and then they told him that Yo Gotti, he was on airways at 9:30. And then they said, okay, so then they asked more questions, and then they turned around and was like, so you said that Yo Gotti was on airways at 11 p.m.? And he was like, no, 11 a.m. And then he was like, ooh, you done messed up. You know I got you, right? You know I got you. You just messed up right there. Because in the last interview, Big Jook and Govan said that Yo Gotti was on airways going to the airport at 9:30. But then now they switch it up and they said that it was at 11. This is how they got busted. This is how they got them to flip and be informants, because they knew that they changed their stories multiple times. A lot of these dudes in the streets and everything, running the street life, they're not super geniuses. They're gonna forget what they said in their last interview. They're gonna have very inconsistent stories and everything like that. A lot of the stuff didn't match up. This is why the feds, they was like licking their chops, because they knew they had some dumb people who was gonna actually slip up and they was gonna get caught in a lot of lies. And so this is what exactly happened. They said, we have you contradicting yourself, and you put Yo Gotti on airways at this crime scene at the same exact time, but then you try to switch it up and say that it was at 11 a.m. And so because of that alone, when they looked at the Skycam footage, that's how they found that Bentley was driving on airways in front of the cookie shop exactly at the exact minutes that the whole 007 said the shots rang out, and the two dudes in the white two-door pulled up and they were shaking the Dracos, and 007 said that it was no fragments coming out of their Dracos, and that like the whole sounds came from inside the shop, as if they did something to Dolph in the back room of that manager's office. Y'all have to pay attention to the manager's office inside the cookie shop, because they had that chair there where they had rope and duct tape, and they, when the person looked through the peephole, they said somebody was tied up in there and they had a gag in their mouth. And then when Dolph cut, he had a Swiss Army knife, he cut through the rope and the duct tape. He did that one move you do where if you got duct tape arms, you supposed to swing your arm back, and he ripped out the duct tape. He popped up out that chair. He slid. He like drop kicked the dude right there. Raven's brother drop kicked him. Boom. Maurice Hill came in. They was going back and forth. Then all of a sudden the two dudes that 007 seen with the tank top, they came in, pulled the fire extinguisher off, and tried to throw it at Young Dolph knees. Dolph jumped. He jumped over that, ducked another dude swinging, and then he full Nelson Raven right down, boom, onto the ground, about to curb stomp her. Then that's when he walked out that cookie shop. He was about to escape. Dolph was about to escape. As soon as he walked out up in that lobby of the cookie shop, that's when it was like 18 dudes waiting for him right there. When they all had they had sticks, Dracos, and everything drawn, nickels, everything. And so this is when he basically was outmanned and outmatched. He was trying to call Snoop bands the whole time. He was trying to tell Big Moochie Grape to slide with the whole East Haitians, the East Memphis Haitian. It was trying to tell him to come and slide to the cookie shop. Dolph was sending a Morse code signal to all of the PRE camp to try to tell them to come help him at the cookie shop, and nobody showed up, man. Nobody showed up. And this is what's the most disappointing thing, because they knew that Dolph was in town. How come when Dolph was in town, they wasn't actually moving militant like with him? They knew something was going on. People had the drop on what was about to happen, and they didn't warn Young Dolph. This is the sad situation of it all, man. I want to send my condolences to Young Dolph, Mia J, the whole entire PRE family. And if y'all rocking with Young Dolph, comment down below, put the Dolph emojis. Let me know where y'all from. Let me know who y'all rocking with. Let me know exactly what y'all think about this whole situation. Do you think Yo Gotti's gonna go down for this? Do you think that they're gonna actually end up getting him, or do you think it's gonna be where they're gonna keep prolonging this? Is this case gonna go on? Is it gonna be unsolved for a long time? Because we can't let this, it might end up like the Tupac one where it goes for years and years and years. But at this point, they got so many people that's dropping in Memphis that the feds had to act fast, and that's why they did the raid on Yo Gotti's mansion in the state. They seen Angela Simmons pulling up in the Range Rover. As soon as she got out the car, they grabbed her mouth and everything. They said shh. They pulled her to the back. They made it seem like Angela Simmons coming home was what was happening, when it was really they pulled up on her coming home, and then the feds opened the gate. They had Angela Simmons actually unlocked the gate, and they walked in with the wig on, and the whole feds had a wig on with the whole Navy SEAL like tactical suits and everything with the ghillie suit. Then that's when they crept up in the bushes and they waited for young Yo Gotti. They rang the Ring doorbell, and they put the 4K picture hologram of Angela Simmons on the Ring door camera. Yo Gotti answered the door, and the dude with the wig on, he jumped, grabbed Yo Gotti. He wrestled him down, basically. He hog-tied him. If y'all know anything about the hog-tie, the way they hog-tied Yo Gotti was that they put his arm behind his back and lifted his legs back up, and they tied his arm to his leg, and then they basically carried him like a grocery bag into the feds' unmarked SUV. They pulled up in all Tahoes and Suburbans, blacked out, like literally run flat tires, bulletproof windows, tinted and everything like that. You can't see nothing. Then when the feds come like that, they serious, man. They got everybody involved in this, and now they're gonna get the justice for Young Dolph, as they should.